Good morning, my friends at Yosemite Church. It was a pleasure to be with you yesterday as we start Holy Week, which is the most important week in all of human history, along with the Creation Week. But we know what happened with creation, that we sinned and we were banished from the presence of God. And Holy Week was God fulfilling his promise that the death would be defeated and that we would have communion with God once again. And like I said, this is the most important week for us as humans, as Christians. And so what I'd like to do this week is each day walk through the events of that Holy Week. And starting with Monday. Monday was the day that Jesus cleansed the temple, and as he was leaving the temple, he cursed the fig tree. Now that fig tree had leaves, but it says that that fig tree wasn't quite in season. So why did Jesus curse it? You know, that tree represented the temple and the Jewish leaders, and what should be bearing fruit wasn't. And so Jesus said, may no one ever eat from this tree again. And that tree withered and died. And when he was explaining that to Peter, he talked about faith and seeing and believing what, you prayed for and what would happen. But I want to talk about us as humans and as Christians. Jesus said that he appointed us to go and bear fruit that would last. And you can tell the health of a tree by the fruit it produces. If the tree isn't producing fruit, then there's something wrong with that tree. And us as Christians, we are called as followers of Jesus to bear fruit in our lives. But just like a tree, that fruit isn't for us to eat. A tree doesn't eat its own fruit. That tree is for the sake of those who will eat from that tree. And in our lives, we are called to always be bearing fruit, and if we don't, then we have to ask ourselves, what is our relationship with Jesus? Are we truly doing what Jesus wants us to do? Are we truly refreshing others through that fruit of our lives, which is gentleness, love, self-control, the willingness to help others? Because we know that our spiritual formation is a process of being formed in the image of Jesus for the sake of others. So I would ask you to look around in your life, look around in those who you have influence over, the people in your homes, in your communities, in your jobs. Are they being refreshed by you? Are they being built up by you? And if they are, wonderful, then you are producing the fruit which Jesus has asked us to produce. If you are not, then I would ask that you would rededicate your life to Jesus. And I see no better week to do that. We've been practicing Lent this season, and raising the ante in our lives to reflect Jesus more and more to those around us. So are you bearing fruit in your life? And not just the fruit that we want for ourselves. Jesus has already provided that through our salvation. I don't know what more we could need from him, but, for the sake of others, Jesus came for us, not necessarily for himself. And are we out in our community for others and not just ourselves? God bless you. Happy Monday. We'll see you again tomorrow.